About him on Sports Personality today because at just 25, the Bournemouth forward has become the most talked about name in the English football, with Manchester City leading a queue of elite club, circling a 65 million euros release clause. So we are asking the big question: why Semenyo? Why now? And can Bournemouth afford to let him go? So all this and many more will be the bulk of the conversation around Antoine Semenyo, the Ghanaian international who has become a renowned name this period, for his exploits, for his club in the English Premier League. Welcome back from that break. But those joining us, still sports personality on Atlantic Television Network. I did mention that Ekpo Temple is my name, and today I'm being joined by Kensley Epalibo. It's the Utah period, and Kensley, it's a beautiful morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Ekpo Temple. Also, season greetings to you and also all our viewers around the world. I'm so happy to be here once again.
True, and of course, it's weekend, and so let's start today with the journey of one man, Antoine Semenyo, who was born on January 7, 2000 in England to a Ghanaian parents. Football flows naturally in his blood. His father, Larry Semenyo, was once a midfielder for Okwaku United in the Ghanaian Premier League. His mother of French origin also gave him French citizenship, making Antoine a product of multiple cultures. English upbringing, Ghanaian heritage, and French roots. Football became a family language. His younger brother, Jai Semenyo, also pursued the professional game. Off the pitch, Antoine recently took a major life step, proposing to his long-time partner, Jordan Buckley, in November this year. Let me come back to you, Palibo. How does growing up in a football-related family shape a player's mentality and discipline?
Growing up in a football-oriented family, it makes football not just football is not just work. It's discipline is fun. It's the pressure is not really there. It's just part of your everyday routine. So it's less pressure for the person. I mean, growing up around the football, not looking at football as a career, but looking at it as a way of life, it helps shapes, the discussions around football in the house. You have people who have knowledge, of football, so that you don't need to, when you have problems, you just go to your dad. His dad was also a professional footballer, having his brothers, to his siblings also playing the game, it might have helped him, grow as a player too.
And in modern day football, how important is cultural diversity in shaping a player's adaptability and worldview?
Yeah, it helps them, adapt better, into different, acclimatization, into different, leagues. Footballers are one set of people that move a lot, through the course of their career, and some of them sometimes they have problem, settling down in some communities, not really a fan of the lifestyle there. So I mean, having dual or multi nationality, cultural diversity around you as a player, it helps, gives you that you're able to adapt easily. Communication, there's better communication. I mean, you see these players, get to speak 2 to 3 languages. I mean, we recently saw Zidane at the AFCON, 2026 edition. His son is also playing for Algeria, but he's born to French father. So I mean, that goes down to the cultural diversity we have. I mean, it helps, the strength of the sport. We see players being able to represent different the country of their choice based on what how culturally diverse they are. So I mean, it's a good one, and we need to see more of it in the sports.
Does personal milestone like engagement or family stability positively affect the player's performance on the pitch?
Yes, it comes at a price. You know, you need to have the responsibility for it, and you need to know the balance. You know, the work relationship balance. So I mean, when you're able to conquer the balance, I mean, it gives you that stability. You have that positive mindset. I mean, mentally you are okay. Emotionally you are stable. So I mean, to some extent, it helps. The positive mindset at that certain time. You have to be better. We expect you because having a family, having getting someone you love is also part of as humans off the pitch. It helps the players. So I mean, it's a good one when you see players getting to achieve these milestones.
Why is the players getting to achieve this milestone? Let's move on. And I tell you that despite Semenyo's football heritage, his path was nothing smooth. He had a trial at Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, and Millwall and Crystal Palace all ended in disappointment. At just 15 years old, after being released by Crystal Palace following an 8-week trial, Semenyo considered walking away from football entirely. Then came a pivotal intervention, David Hockaday, who convinced him to join a youth academy, and that really helped him because from there he was able to join that particular one in Gloucester and then the Stuart College. That decision reignited a fading dream. Sometimes things happen to you and you just want to give up. How psychological early damaging can early rejection be for players like Semenyo, and for him who overcame? I'm just wondering others who didn't.
Yeah, it can be really brutal, as a young player, getting to being laid off by academies, club you dream of playing as a player, as a youngin at that point in time. It takes a hit, on your self-confidence at that point. There's no emotional balance at that point for you. It's not going to be, if you do not have, that is where the family, where you have a family that is orientedly football-wise, it helps. You have people, you have that support system who understand what you're going through and will be able to take care of you at that point in time. But it has been a big problem for me. We've seen a lot of these players struggle, have this kind of stories. We are left out of the academy and later on are being bought by the same team. So I mean, it depends on how the academy is able to do these things. I recently watched a documentary on Arsenal, and where Pam Mertesacker, one of the academy coach, was talking about how recently they prepare the players as young, as early as the under 5, the under 7s, that many of them might not actually become footballers at the end of time. So they give them that opportunity to learn something also, to support them. So if football doesn't work out, you have a second option. So I mean, that's a good way to go about it. But I mean, it's not easy to spot talent at that young age. You just have to keep trying, just have to keep pushing. A lot of footballers all have this story. They have this story in common. They have been rejected as a footballer. They have to be, most of them were rejected by one team or the other. So I mean, it's part of the journey. But if you do not have the right support system around you, I mean, sometimes it can be hard to to get up from
such circumstance. But what role do mentors play in such case in preventing talented players from quitting too soon?
Yeah, I mean, that's where a mentor comes in. That's where also you talk about a coach, a father, a family member, someone who has played football before, someone who the player knows can actually understand what he's going through. Someone who can talk to the player and he will listen. Someone he looks up to. That's what he needs at that point in time. And every player growing up, as a footballer, trying to play football, you always have that one person you look up to around you in your neighborhood or where you play football that always talks to you, give you those advice. I mean, this is where it is very important to have, because they are going to be your support system at that point. They are going to be the one to tell you that this is not the end of the road. rejection isn't always the end of the road, that you need to get up and start working to be better. I mean, sometimes if they didn't get rejected, it makes them work on themselves, make them become more disciplined. They weren't the player they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago because of hard work and discipline. So sometimes this rejection, they just need mentors, people they could look up to that could always tell them that this isn't the end of the road for them.
And then how do some players like himself respond to rejection with growth rather than resentment? Because I've seen sometimes, that can be, you harbor it in mind, and so, sometimes you don't even want to play for such club where you are rejected. And he was able to show professionalism in the way he went about his own. And but how easy is it, to handle such moments?
It comes down to the mindset of the person as a whole. Semenyo didn't let it harden him. It made him, to sharpen himself. He became better. He worked better on himself. So I mean, instead of you sulking around, instead of you, complaining about how you keep getting rejected, it's better you work on your weaknesses. So there's no excuse to your game. You see that these players, most of the time, they work on all round. They work on each area of their game. The defensive, attacking wise. So they can't get those excuses again. So I mean, it depends on the player, the mindset. It's some player would choose to sulk, some players would choose to complain, just feel laid back, but some players would really work on themselves, and Antonio Semenyo, he chose to work on himself, and it has really paid off.
Paid off, no doubt. But let's look at the clubs that really helped to shape him. He arrived at Bristol City and signed the professional terms in 2018, but first team football demanded patience and resilience. Loaned to Bath City, Newport County, and later Sunderland became his classroom. It was at Newport County that Semenyo transformed, shifting from striker to winger, improving his defensive work, tactical awareness, and decision making. A defining moment came in January 2019 when Newport County eliminated the Premier League side Leicester City from the FA Cup, with Semenyo playing the full match. And if this is so, one begins to wonder how vital are loan spares in helping young players understand the realities of senior football.
Loan spells are massive. They help in the development of players. I mean, you look at how young players, it takes away that bubble, it takes away that comfort they have, especially when they are academy players from most of these big teams. I mean, they are throwing you, it's just like throwing your child into the real world, that go and fight, telling a man to go into the world, to hustle for himself. That's what you're telling an academy player. You're taking him away from his comfort, taking him to where he's going to be playing aggressive centre backs, going to the second division where the fans do not care about your potential. They just want you to live up to, to the prize you've gotten. They just want to get those results. They do not care about your potential. I mean, that is where they make real players. And if you're able to survive, loan spells at different clubs, I mean, you see that mostly we see the clubs retaining these players and maybe getting sold to, other top teams. So I mean, it's a good one when we see players go into loan spells and come out successful.
Good one to see players go into loan spells and come out successful. Example like Chikwueze now. But how does a position change reveal about the player's intelligence and coachability? Would you say these early struggles prepare Semenyo for top level football and instant success?
Yeah, it screams coachability. It screams about a player who is being able to be coached. Not every player is coachable. When you have a player who is ready to learn, who is ready to adapt to different situations, who is ready to see go whatever mile the coach tells him to go. I mean, it screams coachability, and also it's also down to your football IQ. I mean, being able to change positions. It's not easy. The mindset change of mindset. Your movement, your positioning, everything changes from that point in time. So I mean, it's a player with a high IQ for me, football IQ, someone who is smart. Not every player is able to play different positions. Not every player is able to play different positions. So when you have this kind of players and the ones who are coachable and are humble and are ready to listen to whatever the coach says, I mean, it's always a good one, and it's always a blessing having those kind of players around you.
In 2020 to 2021, Semenyo was no longer a prospect. He was a performer. He scored goals, he got assists, and he had shown promises, relentless energy, that defined his game. He played 50 competitive matches and the Bristol City's Young Player of the Year award, and followed up with 8 goals and 12 assists in that campaign, January precisely 2022. And that got crowned them a championship player of the month, as well as signaling that the Premier League was just watching. Finally, he's here now. What tactical qualities allowed Semenyo to dominate at that level?
I mean, he was, first of all, he was a striker, and you know he was later moved to a winger, and that was where he got, you know, that big break. You know, he was able to, his game changed. He was quick, he was pacey. You know, on the break, on the counter, he was able to. He had the pace, he had the footwork to do those dribbles, and also he had outputs. He was physically strong. I mean, being the greatest tool for me in the championship is that physicality. If you're able to, you know, be physical in the championship, I mean, to go a long way in your development as a player. And he was able to overcome all those hitches, you know, as a winger. He was able to get those outputs, shining even on the biggest stages, you know. On the FA Cup stage, he was able to play well for also Bristol City. So you look at how he's been able to transform his game as from a striker to a winger, and how his output also increased. I mean, Semenyo did fantastically well for himself.
How important is consistency rather than flair in any Premier League interest? Now that he's done so well for himself, I'm sure he's been very consistent. You know, for him to have been looked upon as one of the players that top teams want to get this January that is coming.
Yeah, you know, when Premier League clubs always go for a player, you know, when they send out their scouts, they look at your performances, you know, how over the past 2 seasons, over the past 3 seasons, how has your numbers increased? Because, I mean, football now is about your numbers, it's about your statistics, the outputs you have in those key areas, you know, how do you mark your fouls, your duels won, you know, fouls won, all these are key areas they look into for a player. And when a player is able to, you know, be attacking and defensively, you know, good, he has those features you need in a winger. You know, he has the ability to track back, help the team. He has the ability to, you know, contribute attacking wise. You know, it helps the team, you know, have that confidence in you, you know, have that faith in you, you know, to give you that contract as a player. So I mean, if you're not able to be consistent as a player, especially when you're playing in England, I mean, a lot of big teams would not come for you. I mean, it will reduce your chances. But when they see, you know, if last season you're able to score 6 goals, the next season you're about 8 goals, and the next season you're averaging 10 goals. So I mean, they look at the development of the player. You know, it tells what to expect of the player.
What to expect on the player, and from 2020 to 2021, he was playing for Bristol City. From 2023, AFC Bournemouth secured his signature for £10 million. Since then, he has repaid that feat emphatically. He scored 28 league goals in 97 matches and steadily evolving into one of the Premier League most feared wide attacker. And this is quite impressive if you look at the way he's gone about activities. And you know, for Bournemouth, I'm not sure that I'm just thinking what could they have seen in him that made them to sign him at that point to come and compete with them in the English Premier League.
Yeah, it's still down to what we were talking about, you know, earlier, about, you know, his consistency and he being able to thrive, you know, at the lower confidence he has as a player and his leadership quality. I mean, those are the key areas that these big clubs, the top teams, they also look at when they are going for players. So if you're able to carry those teams, carry them into those important parts of those competitions, the FA Cups, they are getting into the knockout stages, competing, getting into the top half of the league. I mean, it shows that this player is really ready to make it big.
So, do you think he's now among the most complete wide striker attackers you want to see in the English Premier League for this season?
Currently, yes. You look, especially when you look at the output he has had. I mean, you look at the dribbles also, his footwork. He's a player that he has that finesse, he has that touch. You enjoy watching him play. So I mean, you look at all those quality. He brings creativity defensively. As a Premier League winger, wide attacker, you look at that defensive. If you have that defensive work rate, it's a plus to you as a winger. Many of these top teams now, they needed wingers who also can give you those outputs and also can help you, at the defensive area of the team. So it's a plus for him. So I mean, when you look at all the qualities he has, I mean, he's really a top fit and a good pick for any top team.
Well, we've been talking about that man, Antoine Selom Semenyo, Ghanaian British player, and his exploits, from Bristol City now to Bournemouth, and one of the most sought out players come January 2026. Will he go to any club? We're going to talk about that more when we come back. But you are still tuned in to Sports Personality here on Atlantic Television Network. All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, this is Sports Personality on Atlantic Television and Network. It's one show that comes away every Saturday morning, and we're looking at the career and everything about Antoine Selom Semenyo, the man who plays for Bournemouth in the English Premier League and who also plays his trade for the Black Stars of Ghana. Now let's talk. Was he looking at his exploits in the English Premier League? And the reason why we're talking about him this week is because he's the most sought-out player, one of the most, that pick for the January transfer window from big guys. And talk about big guys, talk about Manchester City. Just mention them. For Manchester City, they are not known for emotional recruitment. So I'm just beginning to wonder why they're pushing so hard to get the signature of Semenyo.
You look at the profile of wingers Pep Guardiola fancies. You look at his style of wingers, the wingers he likes, the wingers that won him, the UEFA Champions League, the Grealish kind of winger, who is able to hug the touchline, who is able to have that ball possession, who is able to have that defensive work, and also, he's very smart, he presses, he carries the ball, he's a ball carrier, he's able to win those fouls in and around corners of the box. So look at these qualities, and Semenyo fits into, the qualities, the attributes of the Pep Guardiola kind of winger. So it's no surprise that Pep Guardiola is going for him.
Despite not topping traditional creative metrics, his end product is elite. Since April, he has been directly involved in 16 Premier League goals, trailing only Ellen Brut Haaland, Morgan Rogers. He is two-footed, explosive, vertical, and relentless. A winger who attacks space aggressively rather than just recycling possession. Pep Guardiola himself described him as extraordinary, always hungry, always brave, and maybe that could be the reason why he's part of it. What tactical gap does Semenyo face if he gets to play for Pep Guardiola and his team?
He's not going to, adapt instantly, but he's going to adapt sooner than people think. Because, like we said earlier, like what I said earlier, I said Semenyo has given that quality that he's a coachable player. He's a player that he has the patience, he has the humility to learn. So when you're under a coach like that, who has a wealth of knowledge, to give you, that can help improve your game. Semenyo is one of those players that he's a Premier League proven player. He has played in the Premier League, so the intensity and the pace of the Premier League won't be a problem for him. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for him at first, gelling with this Pep Guardiola team, but it's going to be a good one, in the long run for them.
Good one. I'm also wondering why Pep Guardiola will not prioritize directness and physicality at this stage of this season. Could it be because of Arsenal's the chase to meet up Arsenal and overtake them?
You look at this Pep Guardiola team, and one thing he has always had over the years when he has been winning the league is the availability. He had a river and ocean of quality players, quality wingers. As of then, he had the likes of Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, Leroy Sané, all these wingers. Gabriel is also coming in through the wing, so he was playing fluid football, and we've seen City have suffered. In recent years, they lack quality wingers who have that output. You look at Doku's numbers. Doku's numbers are not impressive. Savino's numbers also is not impressive. So you look at the wingers they have now, and they do not have that output. And you look at Semenyo, context matter a whole lot. He's not in the Saka top tier of attackers right now, but you look at the context, look at the team he's playing for, a team that do not really have possession, do not possess the ball, but is able to run the attack, is able to get those goals, the duels won, those possession, the ball carries he has into the attack. So when you look at all those qualities, looking at how close the proximity between Arsenal and Manchester City currently, for the league title, having someone like Semenyo, throwing in Semenyo today, is going to help refreshing the attack. It's going to wake up players. These players now have competitions for themselves also. So it's going to make everybody wild awake, and also it's going to boost in and give. There's going to be this positive spirit, in the City lineup.
And that area is a player that was bought for 10 million euros, and then now being Bournemouth are not thinking that they can sell him for 65 million euros. Actually good value in today's Premier League market, but I'm just thinking, how good is this, for other teams who want to get his services?
He has a, a release clause. He just signed a new contract, and he has a release clause that in January the release clause is activated, and a lot of clubs want to take advantage of this release clause, because I mean, you look at Semenyo, when this window passes, I'm telling you, Bournemouth is going to make they're going to make loads of cash from Semenyo. So a lot of clubs are trying to get him now, at 65 million. I mean, a winger of his quality, what he possesses are rare, and having him for this price, 65 million. I mean, we've seen wingers who do not have these numbers, who do not have the consistency he has, getting bigger, but for bigger amounts. So when you have a player like Semenyo, I feel like in the current market right now, Semenyo is worth 65 million, and he's supposed to. A lot of teams would want to, cash in, take the move, and take the bold step, and activate that release clause.
Take the bold step, activate the release clause, and let's see. But let's look at his data. Data support the hype around him. No surprises why some players, some have also fancied him to be one of the big names in the league. Scored 12 goals so far since April. Second only to Haaland. He has overperformed his expected goals more than nearly every player in the league. Just this year alone, he has been directly involved in 20 league goals in the English Premier League, becoming only the second Ghanaian player after Tony Yeboah to reach that mark in the calendar year. He's also just one goal involvement away from breaking Bournemouth's all-time calendar year records. Does these numbers place him among the Premier League elite attackers already?
Like I said earlier, he's not the elite, he's not the Michael Olise, he's not the Saka, he's not the Salah tier winger. But I mean, like I said earlier, context matters. I mean, you look at the team he's playing for, and you look at those key areas, his chances created for these teams, his duels won, his ball carries, and his high impact goals, when it matters the most, you see him turning up for his club. So I mean, when you look at those numbers, you look at Bournemouth side that does not dominate possession, how he's been able to lead that team. I mean, that efficiency, under pressure is elite adjacent for me. So you look at what he's been able to do and say, maybe he's not just there yet. He's reaching his peak. He's just about 26 years old. So he's reaching his peak. So I mean, he's not still developed. He still has 1 or 2 years to peak. So I mean, we still expect more from this Semenyo's game.
And how important is goal contributions from wide players in modern title-winning teams?
It's non-negotiable right now. You look at how teams want to function. They need their wide players, to get those goals. And when you look at the top wingers right now, what they have in common, they have the output. Look at the likes of Salah, and also Saka. You look at their goal contribution, they average about 40-30 goal contribution this season. So you look at this, and if you want to be in those top teams, if you want to get a place, a seat at the table, in those top teams, you have to get those outputs, you have to get those numbers, consistently. So when you have because these top teams, when they have about 2 to 3 players getting those numbers consistently, it's going to help that team, fight for trophies. So I mean, it is not negotiable. Top teams, big teams want their players, their wide players, their wide attackers to have those outputs.
And then a lot of person would think that this is also the perfect time, to make the big move, because a player who started with Bristol City, now been playing for Bournemouth, and a lot of person will also think that come on, this guy has what to take to keep him. But let's look at the possibility of Bournemouth. If like Yela stated, they have sold a lot of players. One would think that he's too dead, to keep him. But football is business. Players are bought. Players will always go. But despite a 7-game winless run, they remain closer to the top 4 than the relegation zone. Now, one begin to ask that, how do you say a player like Semenyo, when you know that you need such player, to keep you going in the English Premier League?
Bournemouth is really going to be a problem for them because he has been, the sole creator for that team, When he's not performing, they do not have those attackers who can stand up, and give those performances. I mean, as of last season, 2 seasons ago, they had players like Ouattara, they had Jalen Anthony, they had different attackers who could step up, to get those goals. But currently, those attackers have been sold, and he's the only Premier League, proven attacker they had. So it's going to be a problem for this Bournemouth side selling him. But I mean, looking at it's going to be a cash in, because they might look at it that what if we keep him to the end of the season and these teams are not on the table to buy him? What if he does not keep his form, to the end of the season? His value drops. So the clubs are the dilemma right now. They need him, to survive. But every player is replaceable. Every player is replaceable. So the best advice I would give Bournemouth is maybe to cash in on him right now, because he's hot. He's in the market right now. I mean, you can get good bonuses, for Semenyo. So I think they should cash him on him. Maybe they could survive to the end of the season and maybe get a quality winger.
Is there a realistic opportunity that Bournemouth can convince him to stay, if they truly want to retain their status in the English Premier League?
Yes, I mean, it just depends on how they present the project to him. I mean, he has to be the focal point of the team. The team has to be built around him. I mean, when you're giving these players, this kind of players, that
maybe increase his wage also.
Increase his wage. Money plays a huge role also. Give him that the face of the club. Sell him to the club. A clear upward project. You look at Bournemouth. Bournemouth are closer, to fighting for titles, fighting to getting those top positions, getting into those European competitions than fighting for relegation. So I mean, he sees it. They see that look, we can build something together with Bournemouth. You can be a legend at this club. I mean, selling those kind of projects for him, I mean, it's going to convince him. He's going to have double mind, of leaving the club.
And then does moving now make sense for his development? When you look at the fact that he's still a young guy who still has a lot. Don't you think that that will put more pressure? Because I've seen some of the guys move. Sometimes Grealish is an example. Moved from Aston Villa, and yes, had a beautiful time with City, but at some point he could not find his bearing. And today he won't believe that he even played for City.
Yeah, I feel football-wise, one more season wouldn't hurt with Bournemouth. I mean, having to, like I said earlier, he's getting to his peak. He's not yet reached his peak. He's still young, and I mean, he still needs to sharpen himself. I mean, staying in a club where you are the vocal man, in the team. I mean, that confidence will help you build your game. I mean, going to a big team right now, a LI team, when you're not a guaranteed starter, it's going to be a problem. It can mess with, his mentality, his game, his head might not be in the game. So, but from the business wise of it, these teams might not be knocking at the door forever. At the end of the season, Vinicius Junior can be up and can be up for sale. A top winger higher than you can be up for sales, and this team might turn their face to those other wingers. So I mean, it's a dilemma also for him. He has to choose if he wants to stay at a big club, if he has the balls, to go at a big club and get the hit the ground running on the spot, or stay at Bournemouth, and improve himself. But for me, I feel like one season won't hurt at all.
At all, and of course, a lot of people would think that, like we saw what transpired between Trent Alexander-Arnold. Some person would think that because the club made you, gave you that limelight, that you should be loyal to the club, to reject certain offers. Do you think that should be his case?
I don't think so. I mean, it's all about, when it comes to the loyalty of these players to this club. Loyalty and the timing of it, matters a whole lot, and also context. You look at a player like Bournemouth, and the fans will agree that Semenyo can achieve more if he goes to a big club, and it's all about the timing. Some of these players leave when the clubs needs them the most, and that's why I said it's all about the timing. So, but leaving Bournemouth now, where they are in a good place, they are now a stable team. They are fighting for, they are always in the top of the table. So leaving them at this point in time, I mean, the players won't get angry. He has tried his best. We've seen players like Michael Olise, we've seen players like Berichi Eze, move on from those clubs, to bigger clubs, and it hasn't been a problem with the fans. The fans do not have a problem with it. So I mean, it's all about the timing.
It's all about the timing. And let's look at, if he comes to play for Manchester City. Manchester City are playing faster, they play vertically, and with greater emphasis on transition. Semenyo's pace, hold-up play, and two-footed finishing make him a natural fit, no doubt. Importantly, his arrival could free Phil Foden to return to a more central, dangerous area, easing City's reliance so much on Erling Braut Haaland. How does his style of play align with Pep Guardiola's philosophy in recent time?
Surprisingly, very well. You look at Pep Guardiola and his recent, the way Pep Guardiola plays now. He likes duel winning. Vertical runners.
Yeah.
He likes players who are aggressive in the box now, and that is his fit. That is a natural fit for Manchester City. I mean, you look at the Doku kind of winger. The Doku profile. He's quick with his feet. He's able to get those goals, those assists. He's able to attack the box. So we look at what his Pep Guardiola is trying to achieve with his new City side, because this is a new City. It's different from what Pep Guardiola played 4 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago. I mean, he's building a new team with a new philosophy, and Semenyo just quite fits into that profile for me.
So you think that unlike others, he will not struggle to fit into the side? I'll give an example. Victor Gyökeres, fantastic player in the Portuguese league. Arsenal faithfuls will believe that he's the messiah that has been lacking in the team for them to win a title. He should be the icing on the cake. And now he's there. But because he's not in the Premier League, maybe he's yet to still blend. A lot of people feels that when a player plays in the Premier League, it gives him an added advantage to easily blend. Do you think that would be the case for Semenyo?
You look at for Semenyo, he's coming into not just any team. He has been in the Premier League, so the intensity is not supposed to be a problem. But he's not coming into any team. He's coming into a team that is coached by Pep Guardiola, someone who is tactically, he's a tactical genius, and everything is tactical for him. So I mean, if you're not tactically, if you're not a player with a high football IQ, if you're not smart as a player, you find it really hard to fit into Pep Guardiola's system easily. We've seen very good players, very amazing players come into Pep Guardiola team and struggle, for the first time. I mean, players like Nico Gonzalez. Last season, he wasn't the player he is today, but you look at him today, he's arguably one of the best defensive midfielders currently in the Premier League. I mean, look at the likes of the Nico O'Reilly, the academy boys. When they come first, they are not really sharp, but when they get to play more and more with Pep Guardiola, understand what his tactical, gameplay and everything. I mean, they always play well. So for Semenyo, I feel like not instantly, he's not going to blend in instantly, but it's not as long as we feel it should be. It's going to be shorter than I think we should expect it. So he's going to blend into this team, but maybe not just as quick as we think it will.
Well, I'm looking at Selom Antoine Semenyo. And a lot of people will be asking, do you think his signing, if he gets to be signed for Manchester City, that will make them favourite against Arsenal or against any other team, when the January season gets continued?
Yeah, you look at Semenyo, and he's a player that he can add quality. He adds that quality to your team. And I mean, when you're going into a title race like this, you need players. You need those players who add chaos, unpredictability, that aggressiveness to the team. So and that's what Semenyo possesses. So it's a really good one. Looking at the title race, they really need to get these players, and getting him will be a plus and be a big one for Manchester City.
So let's look at his nationality. Let's look at how he's been able to cope with that. Though he was born in England, Antoine Semenyo chose to play for the Black Stars of Ghana. Since his debut in 2022, he has delivered crucial goals, including a dramatic late winner in AFCON qualifiers. He represented Ghana at the 2022 FIFA World Cup and the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations, starting all group matches in the later tournament. For players like this, who has unique qualities, I'm just beginning to wonder how he's able to profile this. When you look at his career rates at club level, but you also match it at national level.
Currently, he has not been able to, replicate those numbers. But I mean, he gives something to Ghana that is very rare. That's discipline and power. He has that discipline as a player, and he gives them something rare. That wide attacker who can muzzle out defenders, who has that output. He's also a leader. He's someone who can lead his team. When his team is down, when they are not performing, he's someone who can step up. So having that kind of player is always a good one. Is a plus to the team. So I mean, it's a good fit. Him playing for Ghana, and I mean, you look at the choices. I'm not sure he would have been the first choice, not because you look at England in that right wing position, they are very stacked, and they are having selection problem in that position. So I mean, going to Ghana was a very good decision for Semenyo.
good decision for him, and he also had the doggedness in terms of showing that, come on, I have an opportunity to play for England. But a lot of people tell you that if you are born in England, a lot of people decided to go back to their home side because, or to another nationality, because they feel that it's difficult for them to break through the big names, the ranks. Bukayo Saka, it's difficult to break through, especially to playing for the Three Lions of England.
Yeah, to play for the Three Lions of England, I mean, you have to be very consistent as a player. Also, you have to, they look at also the team you play for, and some of these players, they know it will be very hard, it will be difficult for them, to get into those positions. I mean, you look at the quality of players on that right wing for England right now. They have the likes of Bukayo Saka. Phil Foden is also a right winger. We also have Jared Bowen. They have the likes of Morgan Rogers also on that right wing. So when you have all these players in one position, they are stacked for players in that position. I mean, it's going to be a tough one, getting through, because England has always had the attackers. They've always had that those good attackers. So it was going to be a problem for Antoine Semenyo, breaking into that team.
How long can you do you expect to see him? Ghana have qualified for playing the World Cup, and that will be a very good market to see him play and show his brand at next year's World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, tournament football loves his kind of player. I mean, someone who can track back, someone who can stay hot, during transition. That's tournament football. That's, the World Cup kind of football. It's very quick, it's very fast. You have to be very smart as a player and very quick in transition, for you to be able to, survive in tournaments like this. I mean, so going into the World Cup, they are not at the current AFCON going on. So going into the World Cup, it's going to be, we need to see different Ghana, and the quality of players they have right now. And having Antoine Semenyo, leading the attack for them, we hope to see something different from this Ghanaian side.
Hope to see something different from the Ghanaian side. And if you look at his story, look at his play, one will begin to think that Antoine Semenyo is just one player who understands what it means to look for his roots and reunite with his people and get to see how far he goes. And we cannot also forget to mention Coach Iraola. That guy has been fantastic to his development, at least to this level.
Yeah, Iraola has been fantastic. He's been able to help this guy, develop into the player he is today. Like I said earlier, he's a very coachable player. So when you have a player who has a coach who is tactically sound, who is ready to teach his players, I mean, he's a kind of player that gets the best out of his coaches. So I mean, when you have a player who is ready to learn, who is ready to improve every day, and a coach who is ready to, teach and impact his players, I mean, you get to produce one of the best wingers in the Premier League currently.
This is how far we can go on today's edition of Sports Personality here on Atlantic Television Network. Thank you for watching, and I hope that next week you do again to join us. Many thanks to Epalebo for being part of the conversation today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Echo Temple is my name. Always a pleasure to bring you the Sports Personality, and today we looked at that man, Antoine Semenyo, the Ghanaian British attacker. Until we come away again, stay locked and continue to enjoy the best from Atlantic Television Network. Bye-bye. Thou root of Jesse, blessed art thou, son of David.
eminently glorious, immaculately beautiful. I can go on and on and on, but my words are not enough. My vocabularies will fail me, but permit me to cry out, Iba, oh, Iba, oh, Iba, Iba, oh, Iba, Iba, oh, Iba, Iba, oh, Iba, Iba, oh, Iba. Play, brother. Na 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 na. Sing Asha. Blessed art thou, Rock of Ages. Blessed art thou. Blessed art thou, King of Heaven. Blessed art thou, Rock of Ages. Oh, blessed art thou. Blessed art thou, King of Heaven. You are infinitely powerful, magnificent.